Good afternoon. I'm Scott Hara, Director of Digital Content at UMHS in New York City. And today we're speaking with Class of 2014 graduate Dr. Alejandro Pineda as part of our Alumni Achievers series. And Dr. Pineda, good afternoon and welcome today.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Great. Dr. Pineda, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since graduating from UMHS in 2014.
Happy to. So like you mentioned, I graduated in 2014, actually in the winter of 2014. But I matched residency internal medicine at the University of Missouri, Columbia, which is kind of right in the middle of the state. Um, Graduated from residency there in 2018, and in search of some warmer weather from Missouri, where I grew up, me and my wife decided to move out to Phoenix, Arizona, where I happened to come across a medical group as a hospitalist. And since then, essentially progressed as a hospitalist for about a year and progressed enough to kind of bring forth new ideas to my medical group and was promoted to lead hospitalist to help run a brand new hospitalist program at a hospital in Tempe, Arizona. Did that for about a year and progressed well enough to actually take over the lead hospitalist duties for my entire medical group of about 30 or so hospitalists and providers. And I'm at a hospital in Mesa, Arizona called Mountain Vista Medical Center, where I am lead hospitalist for my medical group and also vice president chief of staff for Mountain Vista Medical Center and head of peer review for the hospital.
Wow.
Um, Currently a core faculty for our internal medicine residency program that we have here. And just kind of living the dream, to be honest.
Wow. And so did you always want to be a doctor whenever you were growing up?
No, not always.
Really?
My father was a physician. My grandfather was a physician. My brother, actually, who also went to UMHS, applied to be a physician and is doing very well as well. But I wanted to be an artist of all things. I wanted to be a medical illustrator. Was
Wow.
my dream growing up. But because of that passion for medical illustration, my dad kind of coerced me into thinking about medicine as I progressed throughout high school and college. I just knew it was the right field for me.
Great. And you mentioned that your brother went to UMHS. What made you choose UMHS over other medical schools?
So to be honest, I have to give all props to my brother, who's Juan Camilo Pineda, and he had done a lot of research on Caribbean medical schools and ones that had the resources and support to essentially get us to where we wanted to go and our final goals. And UMHS was one that he had applied to, gotten into, and he had actually done a year in St. Kitts when I was just finishing thinking about applying. And so it was really nice that I had the perfect interview where I had, my big brother who essentially said, "Hey, this is a great opportunity. Do not miss out on this opportunity." And that's how I got involved.
Wow, that's an awesome story. So two brothers went to the same med school. And where does your brother practice now, offhand?
So my brother is finishing up his medicine pediatrics residency at
Wow.
University of Missouri as well. So he is actually going to be following up this coming June.
Wow. Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about your internal medicine residency? You said it was University of Missouri at Columbia, right?
That's
And
correct.
how that led to you moving to Phoenix. You discussed that a little bit earlier, and becoming the lead hospitalist at the 4C Medical Group.
That's correct. So my residency was, to be honest, very well structured, very well organized, great program, great mentors there. It's a program of about 20 core IM residents, and then they have their preliminary year residents that are also transitional. They have lots of different residencies there, so you're kind of mixing and matching with a lot of other specialties that are in their first year. Really great program that focused a lot on inpatient medicine, less so on outpatient, but I think that's kind of where I kind of found to love the field of inpatient medicine and what kind of drew me to the idea of a hospitalist as my final goal.
Okay, and for our current and prospective students out there who may not know rather, can you explain in a little bit of detail exactly what a hospitalist does?
Yeah, so a hospitalist is essentially an inpatient internal medicine physician who essentially aids in the admission and discharge process of all medicine patients in the hospital. Previously, in the 1990s and 1980s, most internists, the PCPs, actually went to the hospital themselves. But as the amount of patient volume and census went up, that became increasingly more difficult while trying to run a clinic. So the position of hospitalist was kind of a new type of position created in that time. And essentially what we do is we help in admitting and taking care of and treating acutely ill patients in the hospital and making sure that when they get out, they have all of their ducks in a row to follow up with their PCP and specialists.
Right. And that kind of goes into my next question. As you know, of course, the past 2 years have really been unprecedented with with the COVID-19 pandemic. What are some of the major things that you and other doctors have learned from this very difficult last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, the role of a hospitalist, if you don't really know, is a really great schedule. Most hospitalists work a 7 on, 7 off schedule, which means they probably have about 14, 15 days off a month.
Wow.
But once the pandemic hit, that kind of schedule went away because of our civil responsibility to what we were tasked to do. So the last couple of years, especially given the pandemic, was very difficult, and it was the most challenging as far as my career in regards to what I was asked to do on a daily basis based off of the Hippocratic oath that I took. But that being said, it also made sure that I truly was doing this for the right reasons. It allowed me to
Right.
focus on, okay, this is my career, but also in order to progress my career, I had to take care of myself outside of that. So trying to isolate those things, take care of yourself while still trying to progress your career and live up to the responsibilities and integrity of a physician is challenging but necessary for me to grow.
Wow. And I can imagine the whole work-life balance was very difficult during the pandemic, especially in the early part of it.
Absolutely. And I don't regret a single day of it because I know how much value I added to the world and to my community. But definitely a life-changing type of event.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And Dr. Pineda, what are some of the things that you'd like current or prospective students, or anyone really at the birth of their career, to know about UMHS? To know about UMHS and how to IMGs can be successful in the USA and Canada.
Yeah, UMHS is very, close to my heart because it gave me everything that I have now. It gave me the tools and resources in order to do so, right? The moment when you walk onto the campus in St. Kitts, you're a kid in a lot of ways because you don't know what can come after that. So I
Right.
think maybe what I would kind of say is that recognize the gravity in which the responsibility that is put upon you right away. Apply yourself to the maximum because at some point down that line, that responsibility will be placed in front of you and you will be asked to do something that not many people in the world do. So challenge yourself, not allowing someone else to do that for you. You need to challenge yourself in order to achieve those goals. Um, Utilize the resources that UMHS gives you. Appreciate the connections and networking that they give you, because as IMGs, networking and forming relationships with all our physicians, all of our colleagues is essential for us to succeed. Sometimes we just need someone to give us a shot, and that's what UMHS provided me.
Wow. And you mentioned to me that you personally knew President Warren Ross during your time in St. Kitts. And can you just talk a little bit about the personal attention that you received at UMHS?
Absolutely, I just have very fond memories of St. Kitts and meeting Warren Ross and just seeing him at the Sunfest and at the initial gatherings and at the graduation, and occasionally you'd see him on campus, and you could just see how much charisma he had and how much attention and
Right.
passion he had to his actual individual students. It was his goal to have all of these students be successful. So to see him actually apply himself and getting to know them as human beings, he knew that that same attention was going to be taken on a grander scale to make sure that the students were successful in by and large.
Absolutely. And Dr. Pineda, is there anything else that you'd like to add about UMHS or being a hospitalist or just medicine in general that we haven't covered?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, this field is growing and becoming more complex, and it's becoming different than it was even 5 or 10 years ago. But what this country needs is physician leaders. We need students that become leaders early on so that when they get out, the goal isn't just financial gain, but the goal is for us to be the voice of healthcare for tomorrow. Or physicians that care about patients first, that follow their ethics and morals first before the financial gain. And I see this as a platform to hopefully tell those prospective students or current students that take this seriously. Feel free to be the voice that all of us need for the future.
Wow, that's really good advice. Anything else that you would like to add?
No, thanks. I got it.
Okay. And do you have any problem if students want to contact you? We can provide an email address or something or a way to contact you, LinkedIn or whatever. Are you okay with that?
Perfectly okay.
Okay, great.
Happy to
All
help.
right. Well, Dr. Pineda, thank you so much for your time. I think you've all made us a little bit smarter about what a hospitalist does. And also, it's great to hear about another UMHS success story. And you're definitely an alumni achiever. Okay, so thank you so much for your time, and we wish you all the best. Okay?
I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Pineda. Okay, take care.
Thanks.